Elevators. Elevators on your way to purpose. Elevators. What came to me as soon as I opened my eyes this rising was a sense of hearing who are the 20 people that assisted you this year? Big, small, neutral. Who are the people that provided assistance to you? Who are the people that helped you? Who helped support you in a way that made this year better? And I was like, immediately like scoffing at like 20. I don't know if I can name 20. I mean, maybe I'll get close. And within moments, I had a list so big that I was trying to like negotiate if I put this person in and take this person out. And it's like a moment before, I had no consciousness of this idea, this concept that maybe 20 people had helped me this year. And then the more I started to think about it, the more the list grew, the more the list expanded, the more the contribution started to solidify, the more the conversation started to replay, and the vision started to come back to me. A year is a long time, and none of us do this alone. So if you believe that you've gone a whole year, no matter how challenging it was, and you just can't remember the people who are really there for you and assisted you, I would suggest you take a second look. Because sometimes those are not personal relationships. In my case, they were. But sometimes those relationships are the kindness of strangers. They are communities that you belong to. There are people that didn't necessarily know what was going on, but showed up at the right time. There are sometimes people that you've had relationship in the past who may have resurfaced just to close the seal on something that you didn't want to continue. And that was very assisting in your journey. So I want you to look again, look at your life, try this exercise on because what I discovered was that the people I named were elevators. Yep, your mama and your cousin too. They're elevators. And so I realized that elevators in every meaning of the word, every entendre you can think of, are people that are willing to go higher, people that are willing to go with you at the same time to your varying destinations, people who are willing to put what they have into you in order to uplift what you have, people that are willing to think on a scale that exceeds what you physically and tangibly can interact with and engage with. Definitely people who are high-minded and top level and top tier in the ways in which they engage with life and others. So the elevators, the people who would never even think for a moment, never even consider disappearing because their job when life gets challenging is to resolve. Their job is to jump in and their job is to join and connect and to really deeply understand. And although that might seem like a luxury at this time in life for people to really take the time to talk or to sit and to understand, I realize that it's so important to acknowledge those as help as much as you would anything financial, as much as you would anything career-wise, any opportunities, any words of wisdom that came solicited or unsolicited, because everybody on a certain level is your teacher. And your teachers are only gurus in the area where they have mastered. So if you have people who have not taken the time to master anything or do not look well with discipline at their lives, then some of those teachers were just teaching you what not to be, or we're teaching you, perhaps what it looks like when you don't do the thing that you know you have to do. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because as we get ready to flip a calendar, we also have to be mindful of ways in which we can communicate what is required. I sent out a question to all of my friends, or a great deal of my friends, earlier this year, just to ask people, what is their definition of community? What is your definition of working together towards a common goal? Or even better, what is your definition of how we come together? What should that look like? What are those rules? What are the visions that you have around that? And I'm bringing this up now because as we discuss purpose, today. As we discuss what our purpose is, we realize we're not going alone. So if we're not going alone, who is the community and who are you? What are the things that are so important for you to identify in that purpose, as well as the community that's traveling with you? So one of the places I would say, if you have your birth chart handy, one of the places that I look for this kind of message is definitely what we consider to be the North Node, which is called Rahu in sidereal astrology or in Vedic astrology particularly. So your Rahu, your obsession, the place where you're looking, some people say your North Star, the place where you're looking for what it is that's important for you to get this lifetime, what's important for you to come here to master. And like I said, mastery always involves discipline. So you can also look at your Saturn. You can also look at what is the seat that you have to take in order to gain that mastery. You can also look forward in terms of how all of that will expand. Okay. So if we start talking about Jupiter for expansion, that could be a little lightweight, but I want to look more at what that Rahu K2 axis is. I want to look at Saturn. And then I also want to look again at the 11th house, which I said in a previous video in terms of community, but I also want to look at how I serve, what I came here to serve. And I'm not talking about career, like, your MC or your career. I want to remove the essence of what I'm saying away from societally employable structures for a moment. I want to just look at the essence. And looking at the essence might be that you have to look at what you're learning. You also might have to look at what's really important for you to know. And those things are all encoded in your chart. But let's just start with Rahu or North Node if you're not doing sidereal. So North Node, your North Node, and I've always, again, I think if you've seen my previous video when I was doing tropical versus when I was doing sidereal, the North Node made even more sense through the lens of Rahu. And it also made more sense for me in terms of me establishing that that's why I'm like that, right? And so you might be able to guess what kind of matters are a part of where my North Node is located. And for me, it's communication. It's communication. There are just certain things I need to know and I have to say. When words and ideas and concepts stop flowing through me, they bottleneck. They don't just settle. They actually hold up traffic. When I don't have a place to place my thoughts, when I don't have a person to be a sounding board, when I don't have a location where things can flow, they bottleneck. And when they bottleneck, it blocks my energy to the point where I'm not able to share all that's coming through me that I may be hearing and understanding for the sake of information flow for myself and others, and particularly any communities that I belong to or any communities that I've created. So this is an important thing to understand your North Node on a different level, and definitely the quality, definitely the constellation that is present there. And more often than not, what you'll start to understand is you have something that you may not acknowledge is something that is very important for you to do that is connected to your purpose. Because your purpose a lot of times brings up questions of how or questions of what. You might say, okay, I know I'm living my purpose. Well, how do you know? Well, I know because I can't stop doing the thing that I'm doing. That part. I can't stop. It's urgent. It's an emergency, right? So the thing that I am doing that I'm obsessed with doing, I can't stop it. It just keeps going. It keeps happening. And it's very, very, very urgent when I do it. So if it's urgent, then the question for you is, blessings. The question for you is if it's urgent, then what is it that is leading you toward? How is that pushing you to your aspiration and the things that you know that are your purpose in this life? Of course, your sun sign and other areas of your chart are always going to help cement how you show up, your persona, and all those things. But I also would like you to look at your ninth house because in Vedic astrology, we also call that house the Guru house. And so this is not just about your explorations, your philosophies. It's also about the teachings and the people who teach you and the people that you teach and the professions that get developed through that teaching, through that learning. This is a huge part of living your purpose. No one expected you to come here and have all the answers at birth, right? If you came here as a soul to enact a certain level of contribution to this planet, there are things you have to do to solidify that. There are things you have to do to make that more clear. And so we're talking about ninth house matters when it comes to that. In addition to that, I think my favorite one again is Saturn. What is the chair that you have to sit in order to realize said purpose? What kind of chair is that? And how often you're going to have to sit in that chair in order to realize your purpose. These are just three pointers that I think are important. And again, 11th house We're talking about your community, kinds of people that help things happen, the kinds of people you like to be around, kind of like your world shaping your understanding of what the larger societal structure is of what it is that you're doing, and maybe who are the people that are going with you or helping create it with you or who you're creating it for. Lots of interpretations here, but I would say look at those. Look first at your 20, right? Starting from the top of this video, look first at your 20. It told me 20 don't have to be 20 for you. But look at your group of people who assisted. 20 helps you stretch. That's why I said 20. But look at your 20 who have assisted you through this year, that have made this year feel that much more comfortable, that have supported you, that have helped elevate you in any way imaginable. Then start to look at your Rahu/North Node. Also look at your ninth house and the constellation or any planetary positions there. Look again at your 11th house and definitely look at that Saturn seat. And you put that together, you should start to get a little bit of a nice archetypal story about what's going on. There are other places you can look. You can definitely look at other charts, especially in sidereal astrology. You can look at other charts. You can also look at, people like to look at the eighth house. They like to look at the 10th house, particularly for career and, the midheaven. But I was trying to stray away from doing that because when people talk about career and profession, that is how it happens a lot of times. But I want you to look deeper into the essence of what is happening, not how it happens necessarily, not what is the career you'll take on in order to deliver this thing, but looking more at what is the essence of this thing. And then, like, can I get a good feeling about who these people are? And then, as I look at who these people are, am I able to then say, oh, now I see what kind of careers would be best suited to handle that or to carry that forward? So, the way that I like to share astrology and engage with astrology is to feel it. I'm a feeler. Those of us that have extra feeling senses, we may get different insights and different words and language that are not necessarily the way that popular astrology is communicated. But these feelers that we get are most definitely words for us or ways for us to understand how something is coming into shape and then finding those interconnections between those things. So definitely drop in the comments, not your 20 people, but drop in the comments if that was challenging to do. And then also let me know what that story is. You don't have to tell me your placements unless you want to, but what that story is that you started to piece together through looking at those areas. I hope that you will consider purpose as you move into this new calendar year. And I definitely hope that you consider who's coming with you and who you're doing it for and who are the people that need to surround you. And I don't mean this in a sharky way. I mean, not an advantageous way, but an aspirational way. If you're really going to do the thing you came to do, one, it's about time we get to it. And two, it's about time you understand who are the people that are about that life, who are your elevators. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.